So, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to begin this video. Let me just start by saying I don't actually enjoy being angry on camera. It makes me feel uncomfortable because genuinely I think it makes me look bad. Even in my more negative videos on this channel, I try to at least be calm and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. But with what's been going on, I just don't have it in me. I'm sorry. So for anyone who's out of the loop and doesn't know what's going on, basically yesterday at the time of making this video, my main channel was striked by Gameloft, which is a video game publisher, developer that is responsible for the Asphalt mobile games. And the reason why I received a copyright strike from them is because of a 3-year-old video that has been freely accessible throughout this entire time, which now all of a sudden they somehow decided they have a problem with and they need to immediately strike me for. So you can see it here, the video was called The Greediest Racing Game Ever and How I Fixed It. Maybe you remember this one, it had about like, I think a little bit over 300,000 views. Maybe you've seen it. Yeah, this was just striked by Gameloft themselves without any warning or attempt to contact me beforehand or whatever. You can see some details in the email that I received over this as well. So yeah, removal request issued by Gameloft SE, and the contact info is cert-antipiracy@gameloft.com. This is gonna be relevant in a little bit. Now you might wonder why this got taken down, why Gameloft went after this video and why they decided to strike me for it. And for a while I was really not entirely sure why. There are a few ideas that I had, but the more I thought about it, the less sense it made. So to just kind of like explain this video, I wish I could just kind of show excerpts, but for obvious reasons, I'm not gonna show anything from this video. Even parts that I think might be fine. The fact that the entire video got striked and not like just a part of it got claimed or whatever, makes me just really hesitant to show anything from this video. I think maybe playing some audio might be fine, but honestly, I don't even want to risk that, so I'm just gonna quote some stuff here and there and explain the video. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. So basically in this video, I was playing the game Asphalt 8 Airborne, which is still to this day a mobile racing game you can play today that is completely infested with microtransactions, and it is like probably one of the worst examples for what I would consider a predatory mobile game. It is borderline unplayable. It has so many premium currencies. It is like, as far as microtransactions go, one of the worst games I have ever seen in my entire life. And it wasn't always like this, is the thing. Like, back when this game was still new, it wasn't anything like this. This actually used to be a super decent game without any nonsense, with a career that you can just play, like just a super solid mobile racing game. And all I did in this video is play an old version, like an old update of this game. That is all I did. I didn't show anything about how to run this or where to get this from or like anything about that. The only thing I said in this video is using some PC wizardry. That is literally the wording I used in this video. I got to play this old version of the game. That is it. There was nothing in the description that linked to like any game files or like patches that the community made. There was absolutely nothing. The description was completely empty. And the reason why I know this is because at some point I did link a Google document that I made where I linked a bunch of stuff to like various forums or whatever, where you could then get the files to get this to run. In fact, just a couple of days before I received the strike on YouTube, I actually got this email here. I'm gonna have to probably censor some stuff here. But it basically just notified me that this Google document that I made was basically just like restricted. So it was not accessible anymore. It's basically as much as taken down. I can still access it, but no one else can. And the reason given for why Google restricted this document is here. Description of claim: the files uploaded on Google Drive advertised cheats for Gameloft's copyrighted material. So in this document, I didn't just link the game files and how to patch it, which once again, I just want to point out is a free game, by the way. Like Asphalt 8 is a free game, okay? But underneath all of that was a link to a forum post where someone made a working like cheat table that you can use to basically give yourself in-game currency in the game. And that is the reason why they took this down. This is listed as the description of the claim. They didn't actually have any problem with the game being linked on this document, but it is the cheats. It is the cheats that bother them, and this is the reason why they decided to like take down this document. And so I assume that this is the actual reason why they took down the video, because once again, there's nothing in the video where I show how to install the game or where to get the game, how to downgrade the game. None of that is shown in the video. What is shown in the video is me opening up Cheat Engine and giving myself money and showing how to do it. Now, the reason why I have a problem with this is because this is on an old version of the game that is not multiplayer, that has no online services, no microtransactions. Like, this is a fully single player experience where the cheats have no effect. In fact, this cheat table that I used, as far as I know, doesn't even work on the newest version on the game. This is exclusively for this old version of the game that isn't accessible, that Gameloft has not preserved themselves, where cheating does not matter, because there's no multiplayer, which means there isn't like a way for me to get faster cars, so I have an advantage over other players who are playing legitimately, and there are no microtransactions that I'm trying to get around. This is as safe as inputting a cheat code into GTA. That is literally what this is. Once again, a free game, completely single player, no multiplayer, no online, absolutely nothing. Why is it a fucking problem that I am cheating in this? This is ridiculous. This is unbelievably petty. And it turns out I'm not even the only victim of like a copyright strike here, because at the moment, for whatever reason, Gameloft is going absolutely scorched earth with anything and anybody who is trying to, in some way, shape, or form, modify their game in any way, even if it is for versions that are long gone and 100% free. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to mention this, if even just like uttering the words of this project is gonna get this video a strike as well. But there was a project that may or may not have been related to Asphalt 8, where the people behind it may or may not have tried to modify the game in some way, shape, or form to just make the game more fun and more playable. And this mod for the game, assuming that it exists, wink wink, was actually also based on a completely free version, one that was in fact pre-installed on a bunch of laptops. A version where the in-app purchases don't work either. Like, it's completely like inaccessible. And since that mod is tied to an old version of the game, it is also completely impossible to use this mod to cheat in the new version of the game, because they're completely separate things. You're not connected to any servers at Gameloft. You don't have to link any accounts or whatever. There's no multiplayer except maybe like some local stuff. Actually nothing. And despite that, Gameloft still went ahead and took down, as far as we know, at least 5 more videos that just showcased this mod. And these were videos ranging from like really small to fairly big, like anything in between in terms of like view count. They shut down the blog of the mod author, and also any and all download links to this mod, even from people that tried to re-upload it. And it turns out in the complaint that I just showed, they also received a similar one, and in that, they once again also claimed that they're linking cheats and they're showcasing advertising cheats, which once again, like, that doesn't work. It's just an old version of the game that is not supported anymore, right? That doesn't mess with the newer versions at all. In fact, it gets even more pathetic because they even claimed the icon of the game. Can I even show this? Am I even allowed to show this, by the way? Do I have to blur this? I'm actually, you know what? I'm so paranoid. This entire thing made me so paranoid. I feel like I'm actually gonna have to blur this. But this is basically the icon of the game that they used for the mod. And even this got claimed. Even this got taken down. Like that, a fucking image, dude. Now, if you wanna be a smartass, you can absolutely go ahead and say, well, it doesn't really matter if it's an old version or whatever. At the end of the day, this is still Gameloft's IP that belongs to them, and they can take this down as a result, because at the end of the day, you're still, messing with what is basically their IP. But who the fuck cares? What game developer actually goes after mods and preserving old versions of the game like this? Like, the only gaming company that does this that I remember is actually Nintendo. Nintendo has done this in the past, where they also, like, took down, I think, Point Crow's content, or, like, various of Point Crow's videos because he showcased some multiplayer mod for Breath of the Wild. Like, it's pathetic. Like, it's so pathetic and petty. Like, once again, I just want to reiterate, we're talking about a video that has been available for 3 years, just fine, where the description was completely empty. For the vast majority. So I will have to explain the link to this like document that I made where I linked to like all of the stuff that they eventually took down was initially in the video description. However, this is not actually my first rodeo with a copyright strike. So a bit of backstory, back in like 2022, I made a setup tutorial for Gran Turismo 4, and in this video tutorial, I explicitly showed where to get the game from like a site, and I also linked this site in the description. Now, I fully understand that you shouldn't do this, okay? Even back then, I understood that this will probably get me in trouble, but I still did it anyways because at the time, no one has actually tried to distribute abandonware on YouTube. Because at the end of the day, you know, Gran Turismo 4 hasn't been available for a very long time in any official capacity. So I figured, hey, I'm actually gonna be the one to take the bullet here and try to, like, distribute abandonware in some kind of way, shape, or form through YouTube, or at least advertise it in some way. And you know what? I fucked up, you know, I took the L for that, 100%, I was perfectly fine with this. Like, I didn't make a big fuss of it, I didn't make like, a video like this here, where I'm like, you know, like massively, like angry. I'm perfectly fine taking the L again, you know, for a copyright strike, if I think it is valid. And I think that time, it was valid. I was trying to push the limits and boundaries of what's allowed on YouTube. And I was wrong, perfectly fine, I took the L. So if I'm now getting angry at this, it should show you how bullshit this is. And the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because after I got this initial copyright strike, I took down all links to anything that wasn't belonging to me, right? Anything that didn't belong to me that I showcased in a video, any kind of mods, anything, I went scorched earth with all of it. I removed everything because obviously when you get a strike, you don't want to get a second strike within 90 days, otherwise you're going to be in actual big trouble. So I just removed everything. And this also included, the link included, you know, in this video, like under this video, like this Google document. So for, I want to say like 2.5 years, the description has been completely empty. There's no links whatsoever. The only thing that the video showed is that I have Cheat Engine open, right? The tool to use to cheat in the game. And that I add myself money. I don't show the website where I got this from. I don't link to anything. There's nothing in the description. The video doesn't show anything. You're gonna have to find this on your own if you wanted to, right? And that's what bothers me so much. Like, I already went through the lengths to actually, like, make sure that I'm on the safe side with this video. And it still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough. And now I got a strike for cheating in a single-player game that is running on a version that is over a decade old, that doesn't have any online services or microtransactions, where it doesn't affect the actual player count or the player base whatsoever. It's so stupid, man. Like, up until now, I always thought that Ubisoft was the worst gaming publisher, because they're the ones being, like, extremely anti-consumer. But, like, I cannot imagine anything worse than this. Like, this is the most pathetic and unnecessary strike ever. Like, especially because they could have gone the way of to just contact me directly, right? Or just claim the part, or, like, ask me to remove it, right? Like, they could have gone so many ways to just do this peacefully, because at the end of the day, I would not have cared a single bit about changing the video, or like cutting stuff out from the video, because if I'm gonna be perfectly honest, the video was bad, okay? The video was kinda dog shit, and I mean this with no disrespect to the editor who made this video, Jake, by the way. Thank you once again for editing for making the video. But it was just a video I could not care less about, because it was just so unmemorable. And at the end of the day, this video, even up until this copyright strike, just caused me headaches for the last like 2-ish years, because since I removed the links from the description, people then went out of their way to message me on every conceivable platform. So on Discord, in private Instagram messages, on Twitter, like via email, like pretty much any conceivable platform you could message me, you know, via. I got messages from all kinds of people. It must have been at least over 100 messages by now from people. asking me to send them the link, asking me to just put the links back in the description. And I always ignored it, always declined, because I didn't want to run into trouble again. And it was so annoying. It was so damn annoying. No matter how many like official statements I made, like, hey, I don't want to distribute this anymore, people still kept coming towards me, asking me to please send them a link. Like, it was so bad that it turned into a meme on my Discord server. That's how annoying it was. So believe me when I say, I do not care less about this video. I do not give a damn about this video. It was awful and just caused me headaches and unnecessary messages for the last 2 to 3 years, right? So I would have been perfectly happy removing the video myself if it was necessary, right? In fact, I almost would have done that myself anyways, because I was really annoyed with all of the messages. In hindsight, you know what? Maybe I should have done that. It was just so annoying all this time, man. And I finally can talk about this, man. And so yeah, what does that leave me with? At the end of the day, you know, the obvious like response here might be, why don't you try to like counterclaim it? Why don't you just try to like combat this in some kind of way? You have to understand how YouTube's strike system works, and that's to say it's completely broken. If you've ever heard any like content creator talk about this, you probably already know. But the way it works is that it's completely skewed against the creators and to always favor the big corporations that go after us creators. Because if I file a counterclaim, right, which is already kind of shaky because, as I said, theoretically, technically, on a technicality, yes, I am messing with an old version of the game, an old version of Asphalt 8, which technically still belongs to Gameloft and is still technically within Gameloft's IP. So already we're arguing like around a technicality here. But even if I file a counterclaim, it's not it's not YouTube that looks into it. It's Gameloft. Gameloft is the one that have to basically approve my counterclaim and clear the strike. And they are not going to do that. No one is ever going to do that. They are the ones who filed the strike in the first place, right? And if they reject my dispute, if they reject my counterclaim, I'm going to get a second strike. And that's why I'm going to be actually in big trouble, because then I'm only one strike away from complete, utter like termination on YouTube. And then you will actually never see me again, because this channel will also be gone. So yeah, as much as I would like to file a counterclaim, it is just not the smart move. You can do this with smaller claims. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, I got a content ID claim. So important distinction, a content ID claim is basically just a smaller version or like a less bad version of a copyright strike, where it doesn't affect the whole video and you get a strike on the channel, but just like some small sections of the video, and the video basically gets demonetized. And it actually turns out that a couple of weeks ago, I got like an invalid false content ID claim on an old video of mine where I did a short review on Forza Horizon 5, because the stuff that was claimed was basically just footage from the trailer, but it wasn't Xbox or Microsoft that filed the claim, but it was just some random TV company, and they detected this as me using footage from the Goodwood Festival of Speed, which is obviously wrong. Like, it's just not what I'm showing in that video. So it was really obvious to me that this was just some automated claim that went wrong, and so I filed a counterclaim, and like literally within a couple of minutes, it was gone. Like the company that made the claim basically just like retracted it rather, and I was in the clear. So when it comes to smaller stuff, yes, I am absolutely willing to like combat it. But when it comes to this, I already didn't give a shit about the video. It already caused me headaches. It was already annoying enough to leave this video up as is. And since we're talking about a copyright strike, I would rather not take my chances here. Instead, what I'm going to do is never, ever touch any fucking game from this goddamn shitty dog-ass company again, because not only have they now shown that they're extremely anti-consumer, anti-player, anti-everybody, and they only care about their own bottom line, but they also make some of the most predatory dog-shit-ass games I have ever seen in my entire goddamn life. In fact, just a couple of months ago, I got an offer to promote the newest Asphalt game, which is just as terrible, because they had some kind of like weird collaboration with Lego, like Technic cars. And I was just like, dude, like, I'm not gonna advertise your goddamn game. I don't, like, it's ass. It's predatory. I'm not gonna like advertise predatory mobile games to my audience. That's irresponsible. And the worst thing is they didn't even offer me any compensation. The only thing that they offered me is to send their ugly ass Lego Technic model to me that I don't even give a damn about. You can shove that up your ass. I don't care, man. If you're not even willing to pay me to advertise your damn dogshit ass predatory mobile game, I'm out, dude. Like, just leave me alone at this point. And maybe this got me on their radar. Maybe they were pissed that I ghosted them, and now they're just hitting me with this. Look, I don't know. At this point, we're entering conspiracy theory realm. This is all I have to say, honestly. Like, Gameloft can fuck off. Like, the worst gaming company for me now, and have successfully dethroned Ubisoft, because not even Ubisoft is this petty. Like, imagine if Ubisoft went after all the people that made videos on the Crew Unlimited project, which I have also done as well. Because in fact, in the Crew Unlimited, you know, with this like offline patch, you can also cheat, right? Like, you can also give yourself infinite money, unlock all the cars, do everything, unlock absolutely everything. You can also cheat in the Crew Unlimited. And if Ubisoft was anything like Gameloft, they would have also copyright struck every single YouTuber who covered this patch, this offline patch, and the cheats included with it. They would have struck absolutely everyone. But not even Ubisoft is that low. Not even Ubisoft falls that low, because that is a new low. And congratulations, Gameloft, you have successfully reached it. Okay, I had to get that off my chest. Look, I'm not even sure what else to say here. I think there's nothing else to say. If you have any opinions on this, let me know in the comments below. For what concerns me, I will not feature any kind of like modding projects or patches or whatever in the foreseeable future, at least for the next 90 days until the copyright strike disappears and dissolves. All I can say is, like, if you're a creator, stay vigilant. You know, maybe check back with some of your older videos if you linked anything that could be problematic. Doesn't hurt to double check. As you can see, like, it doesn't matter how old the video is. At any point, a big company, big billion-dollar company can just like knock down your door and just strike your videos just like that, you know? So if you have a YouTube channel, if you've uploaded YouTube content, I really urge you, like, check back with the older content. See if there's anything linked there. See if anything could be problematic. Yeah, this can happen. If it happens to me, it can happen to you, you know? But that's it for today. I hope the next video that I can make on this channel is going to be a little bit more positive. I wanted to make a video going over the crew and how the updates kind of like degraded the game, so to say. But I think after this, I'm going to need a little pick-me-up. So I'm going to try to like follow up with something that's a little bit more positive to just kind of like balance things out. But anyways, thanks for listening to my rant. And yeah, until next time, take care, take it easy. And as always, peace. See you guys.